What's up, everybody? Joe B here with Burning Spartan Stoke Company, coming to you with a cool little project we've been working on. So, getting ready for the Broadway Bomb, and this year I am taking the Loaded Icarus. Cool, light, flexy little board. Really excited to give it a shot. It's definitely challenging the way that I skate. One of the things that I noticed right off the bat when I was working on some manuals, I've got a manual line that I'm working on, is the little end pieces of the Icarus, that stock grip that comes on it, isn't super gritty. So I kept feeling like when I was on it, my foot would just slide off. Like, I couldn't really apply pressure to it. So I took the pieces off of the Icarus and put them onto the end of a cardboard here. And then I put that onto some Seismic Lokton grip. That's like the grippiest stuff out there. Super, super durable stuff. A little bit difficult to work with, but really, really good, effective grip. And then made these little cutouts. So you can see here, I've got those cutouts on there. One of the things that happened, because this grip is a lot stiffer backed than the stock loaded grip, is that you can kind of see right on the ends here, it didn't really form the way the stock grip did. And kind of a happy accident, really, because I was like, wow, that's really effective, and I've been using this grip. And with Seismic grip, obviously it doesn't care much for concaves and stuff, so you get that kind of peels off. Now, even though that is really, really light, that stuff that's stuck on is going to take a little bit to get off. Anyways, so what kind of the happy accident, since I've got this gap left over, I was like, man, well, why don't I modify the shape? So what I've done is I've taken my board back apart for like the 5th time, and I started out with this pattern, traced it onto my little pattern sheet here, and then I'm actually going to modify the grip, the way the grip covers. So I'm going to peel this Seismic back off, and what I did is I laid this pattern over it, and the new pattern is going to cover, let's see if I can get it to do it here, it's going to cover all of this. So it's actually going to come up into the hips a lot more. And you can kind of see it's a lot wider, and it's going to cover all of this blank area there. And this, especially when I place my foot on the reason I'm doing that is so that if I place my foot, like say a one-footed manual or whatever, the sides of my feet will actually rub up against those parts, and it'll give me just a little bit more control, because instead of sliding off of the slick top of the base plate and off of this little shoulders that are empty, hopefully it'll grip in and it'll give me just a little bit more control. So I've got my pattern cut out. I'm getting ready to transfer this to something a little bit more substantial to trace, probably some thicker paper, and then I'm going to put it on my Seismic grip. So that's where I'm at so far, and we'll put it in again when I'm cutting it all out, because it's kind of tricky working with Seismic, so I wanted to cover kind of some of the stuff that I do for making these cool little grip patterns for loaded boards out of Seismic Lokton. Alright, we will talk to you here in a second. Alright, so next step. I've got this really flimsy paper that this is not even really, probably not even going to use that. I've got this really flimsy paper that I needed to stiffen up a little bit so that I can actually lay it on the pattern. Heck, maybe even have it last a little while. And so I have taken some glue sticks, smeared it all over the paper, and then glued it on some cardboard. So I'm waiting. And then after that, you can kind of see I've got some parts that really don't line up well. What happened there is I started tracing the pattern one way, and then I laid it on the board, and really it's going to come out better. So when I cut this out, I'm going to modify this, so I'm going to bring the line kind of down into that corner a little bit smoother. So now I'm waiting for that glue to dry, and once the glue dries to this nice stiff back, I am then going to put it on the back of the Seismic. So next I'm going to measure out my segments of Seismic, so that I have the right length and width that I could do 2 pieces out of. And then I'll lay that on there, and we'll get to tracing and cutting. Cool beans! Things are moving right along. Alright guys, so I have waited for the glue to dry, cut this thing out, and I have traced the pattern on the back of some Lokton grip. Look how grippy that it looks. Ooh, it's so grippy. So yeah, I made sure to trace with this side facing down. One of the biggest reasons is because on the other side, the way I cut it out kind of had some weird parts. It didn't exactly line up with the pattern. So I'm just going to use this as what to trace. Now when I cut this out, and it's going to take a long time to cut this out, I am going to be cutting on the inside of the black line. Because that means that's the inside of this. So I'm going to cut this out. When I'm cutting this out, literally get my hand off of that. I guess I should be shooting with my right hand, so it doesn't cover up the camera. I'm going to be taking a razor blade and just going over and over each of these lines, over and over and over again, slowly cutting it out. When this stuff is kind of cut in a hurry, sometimes you'll get like little, you can kind of see that end that kind of flaked off. It's just kind of part of working with this grip, is that the ends flake off. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing next. Sweet, almost there. Alright, so slight correction. I will not be cutting it out a little bit at a time with these little razor blades. It would take forever. Trust me, I got bored of it almost instantly. So what I did was I used the tools that I've already got. And we use these little whisk snips, to the yellow handled ones, to do a lot of actually custom grip. And for finer detail stuff, it's not such a good idea, but for big stuff like this, it seems to be working just fine. So I'm going to cut it out with the whisk snips instead of cutting it out a little bit at a time. If I did do it this way, it'd be like a line, go over the line, over and over and over again until it got through. So that's no fun at all. It takes forever. So we're going to do the whisk snip style. Much faster, much cleaner line, less problems. Alright, everybody. So I have cut out, using my whisk snips here, all of the little end pieces. These are the new shapes. This was old shape, new shape. Here's kind of how that compares. So it's not quite the same shape, and those fit on kind of like that. So I'll get those put on there, and then we should be about done. Sweet! Alright, so this is the final applied, I guess not final. I've got a little bit of overhang here and there on those ends. You can kind of see that it's the line. So this is the old grip. So you can see what I've added on to the shape and the hips. Now with that other grip, that the first pattern that I did, it didn't have any of this. All that was exposed, and you can kind of see it was ended right there. So we added on those little bits to add for the hips. But what's really cool, also on that other pattern, it was the grip, because of that concave, was pulling up like right along in there. It was kind of flopping around. So by making it wider, you get more glue that's going to hold it down. And right now, like, it's really sticking super nicely to the surface of the board. But what's going to be really cool, not only does it have more surface to like adhere, it uses more adhesion to kind of lock that down, but when I put these base plates on, these rad Electrolux base plates, check this out. That is going to be holding just the very corner of that grip tape kind of down. So that should also help with adhesion and that sort of good stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm really excited about this new pattern that we've kind of come up with for the Loaded Icarus. Man, it's going to be using that Seismic Lokton grip tape. It's going to be super grippy. I think I've got a little bit of light left. I should be able to get out and get this skated. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for all of the other stuff that we've kind of got going on with around the shop. We're all the time tinkering, building, trying to think of different ways to make what we ride a little bit smoother and a little bit better. So this is Joe Burnham, Burning Spider Stoke Company, signing out. I'm gonna put this thing together, and it's just gonna be really sick. I'm really excited. I mean, that's just gonna boom, hold that right in there. That's gonna be rad. All right, super good times. All right, have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. All right, last little bit before we ship all this off and, you know, we publish it to the world. So just put all the board back together, and so far I believe the coverage is going to be exactly what I wanted. The one modification that we're definitely going to do for the next pattern, version 3, is these sharp little tips. That was the first thing I peeled up, so I got a feeling those probably will not last. So we'll probably cut in, like, take those corners off the edges, and we'll see how the rest of them do. But that's what it looks like all put together. Really excited, really stoked for this new pattern. Really sick. Yeah, awesome. Really excited.